Hello Scribians, how are you all doing? So I figured out how to record videos and upload them to YouTube without using Adobe Premiere Creative Cloud. We're gonna go back to when I very first started this channel. And you know what we used to edit our videos back then? Honey, we used iMovie. I forgot about it until I was in the shower today and I was like, oh, wait, I still have access to iMovie. I can still make videos. I just don't want to make any series in this program because it's not as good as Premiere Pro. So I want to get right into it. I saw this post in Lunar Wisdom's Facebook group. Now I'm just gonna put a disclaimer here for all of you. No tea, no drama, no shade, just my opinions. Okay, just my opinions, and I would never talk about anything out of Lunar Wisdom's Facebook group, but she posted something that I think was in response to one of my videos. Wicca is the practice of witchcraft. Is capitalized, but not all witches, or all witchcraft is Wicca. And I disagree, and I'll tell you why I disagree. I disagree because you cannot say that Wicca is the practice of witchcraft, but not all witchcraft is Wicca. Because that falls apart, that creates a loop that doesn't work, that compiles wrong. It creates bugs and issues. And what I mean by that is, if Wicca in itself, all by itself, is the practice of witchcraft, that would mean that most forms of witchcraft are Wiccan related. Not all, but most. Specifically the ones that are practiced in Wicca. I find that to be wrong. I find that to be no. Wicca is not the practice of witchcraft in any way, shape, or form. It can be. Now there's a distinction here. There's a very down the middle distinction. There is traditional Wicca, Gerald Gardner, Alexandrian, Dianic, and then there is modern day, fluffy, new age, have a crystal, say an affirmation, enjoy the earth's power, kind of Wicca. Modern day Wicca as opposed to traditional Wicca. Traditional Wicca is the practice of witchcraft because of its ritualistic, very organized, systematic approach to witchcraft and the practice within a religion. Wicca today has become this religion that is recognized, at least from my understanding, by the United States as an actual religion. Wicca today is something that is very fluffy, it is very earth-based, it is very crystals and sage and tarot cards and positive affirmations. That form of Wicca is not in any way, shape, or form close to, ever could be, or ever will be close to witchcraft. Because the practice of witchcraft is to practice without boundaries and rules and regulations. It is to do what you need to do when you need to do it, regardless of how you do it. Witchcraft doesn't matter if you use cat shit. It doesn't matter if you curse somebody. It doesn't matter if you urinate into a jar and bury it in your front yard. Traditional Wicca doesn't care if you do any of that either, but modern day Wicca says, no, you can't do that threefold. It's going to come back to you. Modern day Wicca is a blasphemy, in my opinion. It is untrue to its roots. It is very simplified, dumbed down, and made so that the average Joe could understand it. The Wicca that Lunar Wisdom is talking about, from my understanding and in my opinion, has to be traditional Wicca. The stuff where you're initiated, whether you're self-initiated by following the Buckland's book, or you're initiated through a coven of some kind, following their rituals. Traditional Wicca is less prone to being, to having specific rules. From my understanding, in traditional Wicca, there is no concept of threefold. There is no concept of this bastardized Eastern philosophy of karma. That's all in the new, fluffy, modern version of Wicca that's been around since the 80s, 90s, maybe even the 70s. Peace, love, tranquility. Modern day Wicca is not, nor will it ever be, the practice of witchcraft. However, with that said, there are witches in modern day Wicca who do practice witchcraft. Modern day Wicca and witchcraft are two separate entities. One is a religion, one is a practice. Can they intertwine? Absolutely. Do they? Probably. Traditional Wicca is the practice of witchcraft. Traditional Wicca is mostly comprised of witches who practice the craft in some form or another, without rules and stipulations and underlined fine print. That is where I disagree with Lunar Wisdom's statement. I disagree because she seems to be referring to, and feel free to tell me I'm wrong, like, comment section down below, okay? Like, no shade, no tea, no drama, right? So, it seems to me that she's trying to say that all Wicca is the practice of witchcraft, when that's wrong. Fluffy, modern-day version of Wicca where it's all like, roll around in the dirt and hold a crystal and feel your intentions and say positive affirmations all day long. You know, light a little bit of this incense and light this candle and you'll feel so much better. All of your negativity will go away. No, that's not witchcraft. That's some new agey mumbo-bumbo, jumbo, filtered, simplified, overly version of whatever. But it's not witchcraft. But then we have to define what witchcraft is. And in my series that I did live with all of you, I said that you can't technically define witchcraft because each witch defines it themselves. So everything that I'm saying is just my opinion. It is not fact. It is not me saying you must believe this or you're doing it wrong. It is me saying, in my opinion, I believe you're wrong. But that should not hold you back from continuing to do what you do. If what you are doing is what you consider to be witchcraft, and you want to believe that all forms of Wicca is the practice of witchcraft, then go right ahead. But in my opinion, you're wrong. And you're wrong because fluffy new age version of Wicca where you're rolling around pig shit, lighting candles, and bathing yourself in sage smoke because for some reason you think that's a good idea, like, that's not witchcraft. The problem today is that New Age has this idea in their mind where they need to oversimplify everything and then they need to pander to you like you're an idiot. And then, in order to rake you in and get you spending money, they jack the prices of crystals, jack the prices of tarot cards. A little 4-inch thing of sage up here in Canada is $16. I go on New Age Imports and I can buy a bag of, like, foot-long sticks of sage. You know, 10 to a bag for $5. Or 5 to a bag for $5. I can't remember what the pricing is, don't quote me. New Age is this very simplified, dumbed down, bastardized, cultural appropriated in some cases, version of this movement where it's all love, light, and sunshine. And since the 90s, it's really dug its claws into Wicca. Because Wicca is this very simplified, today it is, version of witchcraft. It's this PC-friendly, it's a religion, it's recognized, we won, we're the power, we're, you know, crystals and Reiki healers and all that stuff. And there's nothing invalid about what you do, it's just the concepts are so dumbed down in a lot of places that it makes it hard to take seriously. And I think it makes it hard to take seriously because when you get off the Wiccan path, whatever version that is, whether it's the traditional Wiccan path, where you've got the actual rituals, the actual practice of the craft, as well as the concepts of a religion, when you get off of that path, or you get off of this crystal, love, light, sunshine, rainbows, Wicca version, New Age path, whatever path you get off of, when you start going down more of a actual witchcraft path, not saying that either of these aren't actual witchcraft, but when you go down the less structured, less organized, less religious aspects of witchcraft and really dive into it, with no rules, no stipulations, no fears that shit's gonna come back to you, none of that, then, and only then, will you, in my opinion, see what witchcraft really is as opposed to what Wicca makes it out to be. So, do I agree with Lunar Wisdom's statement at all? If it's coming from a traditional aspect of Wicca, then absolutely. But if it's covering all Wicca, all of the spectrum of Wicca, including the New Age, fluffier version of Wicca, where it's like you go to a makeup store and you buy a makeup kit and it's got witchcraft stuff with it. There was a huge backlash on that. Or if you go to, what is it, H&M? Is that the store where they're selling sage and crystals? Or, I don't know. There's some store, some clothing store where you walk in and you can buy like necklaces and sage sticks and crystals, and all of it's been jacked up through the roof, obviously, and price-wise. But if that's the version of Wicca that you also want to include in this, then no, because that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with witchcraft. That has everything to do with this bastardized version of Wicca that has been simplified, dumbed down, and not cultural appropriated, but pop culturized, with things like Charmed and Sabrina and Buffy and Supernatural and all this other crap. It's been made relatable. That's what modern day witchcraft, or not witchcraft, but Wicca is. It's this relatable, down-to-earth, fluffy, peace, love, light, crystal healing, energy healing type of thing. And it's not that it's invalid, it's just that it's so fluffed out that it's hard to take serious. Traditional Wicca is something that can be done solitary, and it is something that can be done in a coven. That is more akin and closer to the practice of witchcraft than modern day Wicca. But again, these are just my opinions and my thoughts based on the things that I have seen, the things I have read, the things I have experienced, the videos I have watched, the Facebook posts I have read, the opinions of other people that resonate with me. And you are totally welcome to completely disagree with me. That's why there's a comment section down below. But I will leave you with this. Modern day Wicca is not, nor will it ever be, anything close to the practice of witchcraft. Unless you are a modern day New Agey fluffy Wicca, or Wiccan, who somehow also practices actual witchcraft on the side, or as a part of your religion. That is the only place where modern day Wicca and witchcraft even come close to meeting, is when a modern day Wiccan practices witchcraft. Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts, I want to hear your comments, I want to hear everything down below. Get to it. Okay? Okay? Get to it. I love all of you.